Today's episode is a little bit special because I'm joined by someone who knows me better than anyone else, my husband, Jake. Jake's a builder by trade, maybe a man of few words by nature, but someone who brings a real sense of calm and steadiness to our lives. We met almost 10 years ago, and from day one, we both kind of knew this was it. Since then, we've been pretty much inseparable. Through everything life has thrown at us, especially my experience with brain cancer, Jake has been my steady, grounding force and the one quietly making sure our family stays strong. He's also an amazing dad. This episode is all about his perspective as a carer, which I think is so important to share with you. He might not say a lot, but when he does, it counts. I feel incredibly lucky to have him by my side, and even luckier to share him with you all today. Before we jump in, just a quick reminder, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Heads Up With Them for updates, and on my personal page, Emily Francesca Kirk, where I share more of my day-to-day life and the little things that keep me feeling positive. Enjoy today's episode. Please welcome Jake. Welcome back to the next episode of Heads Up With Them. Today, I am very happy to be joined by my wonderful husband, Jake. Obviously, Jake has been with me throughout this whole experience, and I think it would be really nice to get a carer's perspective and his view on things and his experience with it. And most importantly, we also wanted to announce
We're pregnant.
that we are expecting, our third baby, which is really exciting. Something that we weren't really sure that we were able to do, but very exciting that we're able to do it, and we're on this next chapter. Hi, Jake. How's it going?
Hi, thanks for finally having me up. I thought I'd be episode 1, but I guess episode 7. That's okay. That's all right. Let's get into it.
Invited on. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy re-listening to this on your drive home later when you're listening to this episode. So I just have a couple of questions for you. Some of them are mine, and some of them are from the audience. And some of them I compiled because I actually do receive a lot of lovely messages from some of our listeners. And I love hearing from other people's experiences. I often ask messages privately in my private chat on Instagram. And I get to know we get to kind of know each other online. So some of these questions are also questions that I might have been asked in the past that I think might be relevant to your and I's experience. So we'll get into them today. Are you ready?
Yes.
So Jake can be a man of few words, which is kind of why it's good we've warmed you up into now you know what the episodes are like and what the vibe is of each episode. But also it's quite fun for me to have him on because he can be a man of few words, that I can ask him a few more direct questions and he's kind of forced to speak
For once, which would be a nice change for you.
Exactly. And it has to be more than a yes or no answer for the sake of you guys listening and for me. So I'm going to get a lot of enjoyment out of this too. Okay, so I guess we'd start off with how are you doing now in terms of this whole experience? And what kind of role do you see yourself playing in the day-to-day of today, you know?
So in terms of today, I definitely feel pretty blessed because we've recently had the 2-year scan and we got that sort of all clear. So I'm sort of just back to being a husband at this point. Like, it sometimes lingers in the back of my mind when I think long term into the future and things like that, but I feel like I'm past the storm and I'm just back living my life and enjoying it again.
Fantastic. Yeah, I guess that's really good. Now at the moment we're in the phase of just going scan by scan, and I get scans every 4 months, which you come to me for most of my scan results now, which is nice. But I think it's nice that we're in a state of normalcy. Okay, let's go to the next question. So this is we're gonna get deep dive now. Okay, we started off easy. Now I thought we're going to a bit of more emotional things. Keep in mind I am pregnant, so if I do get emotional, we can just blame it on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what have been some of the harder parts for you in this journey that maybe people are not able to see? So because you're with me all the time, What are things that you kind of have to cope with that maybe the outside and our outside friends and family don't see day to day?
Um, for me, once again, I feel like I'm lucky. I've got a really good support network around me with my two best friends. Uh, the thing I probably struggled with the most is, like we were joking before, my communication style is more of actions than words. And so not being able to be as much of an emotional support as what I wanted to be as a husband, I sort of struggled with in the early part of it. And that's why we had those, discussions about me and Gab sharing that role of being that emotional support for you while we went through the process. But that was probably, the biggest thing I struggled with was my own limitations and not being able to help you when I really wanted to.
Yeah, like maybe we'll go into a bit more detail. Gab was more of the emotional and humorous support, and you were more of like the physical doer.
I was like a rock. I was there, I was present, you could rely on me, but I wasn't communicating as well as what I should have been.
Yeah. What about harder parts that like I go through that other people aren't able to see, maybe, that you kind of have to be there for, you know?
I, in my opinion, the hardest part for you was we've always been very independent people,
Yeah.
and losing that independence and struggling having to ask people for help for the simplest things of like going to the shops or, looking after your own kids. I think at the start, it wasn't really the cancer that you found the hardest. It was that loss of independence of like, these are my kids and I can't look after my own kids right now. I don't think your struggle was about you or your health. It was more your loss of your own
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're both on the same page that like when I had moments of existential crisis, I would come to you, or it would mostly be just before bed. I'm like, what if I do die? And then you would help me brush it off.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, I know going through these periods, obviously everyone's different, but it's obviously it's hard, but like that's just life. Like I think having these moments really makes you reflect on what's important and like draws it really into focus. But it's no different to 6 months before our diagnosis. Like
Yeah.
as scary as the thought is, like I could cross the road tomorrow and get hit by a
Yeah.
car. It is a possibility. It's just not something you think about.
Yeah. That's what you tell me all the time. Yeah.
Now that you're a little bit blind,
Yeah.
a bit more likely.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Did you ever feel at times that you couldn't show your own emotions or frustrations because you had to be strong for me?
No. I feel like we tried to handle the diagnosis and dealing with the diagnosis and all the different stages as a team. And so a big part of that was communication. Yeah, we weren't perfect at it in the moment, and we definitely communicated and improved and sort of set roles and guardrails to help us through it all. But no, I don't think there was ever a stage where I felt I couldn't communicate my feelings. If
What
any,
about very early on in the first couple of weeks of like surgery and stuff like that? Because I guess it might have been harder for you because you had to move in with my family as well. So I was very aware of the fact that that might be really hard for you because you went around your own comfort zone. You were in my comfort zone and it was just about my comfort. And so on top of that, you're like living with your in-laws.
yeah, but your in-laws are pretty easy to live with. And it's our family at this point, right? Because we're
Yeah.
married, not
Yeah.
your family. Um,
Yeah.
honestly, I think the one time that I felt I couldn't really show emotion is when me and your dad were in the hospital together and everything was just a bit chaotic and going wrong. And that was definitely one of those points where I sort of just knew that I had to be that rock and let other people feel their emotions around me and try and stay calm and keep people grounded.
Yeah. For context, during my surgery went on for longer than expected, and that wasn't communicated with my family members. For a short period of time, my family didn't know where I was for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 hours.
Wow. So I think it caused just like so much panic for
Yeah,
already one of the hardest days.
yeah, because you were meant to be finished with surgery, and I went and spoke to the desk clerk, and I was like, what's happening? Can I get an update? And they're like, oh yeah, she's been transferred to the emergency room for after the operation. So I went there, and the lady was like, oh, sometimes they transfer you a bit early. She'll probably be here in half an hour. It's all done. So I was like, oh, great. Went back and told everyone it's all done. And then went back about half an hour, 40 minutes later. And yeah, you weren't there. And the systems were all saying you were there. And it was like, an hour and a half where I had no idea where you were. The hospital, no one on the staff knew. And it just turned out that, you were on the operating table. Yeah. I was panicking. I was a little worried, but these things happen, right? So
Yeah, that's hard. I don't like to think about that day, to be honest. Thinking about my family worrying about me. That's a tough one. Okay, this is a happy one. How do you think this experience has changed us as a couple?
I think you're going to answer this very differently to me, but I don't think it's changed us very much as a couple.
Yeah.
I think even before this experience, we were very much of the mentality of let's take each day as it comes. Let's just live and enjoy our lives to the best of our abilities. And that's sort of been the takeaway even after this experience, is just doubling down on that idea of just take each day as it comes and just enjoy the time that you have. Don't get too caught away in planning or thinking about the future.
I totally agree. I think when we moved to our beautiful beachside suburb of Avalon, we both was saying like we're moving here and just like excited to just have our little bubble, and whoever wants to join us and be positive, you can join in. And we just want to feel really calm, and that's how we went into our marriage.
Yeah, like we said, like even if we never buy a house and rent for the rest of our lives, like we'd rather be where we want to be than worry about financial stability and things like that. Like
Yeah, but we're very day to day and like maintaining, and I think we've really capitalized on that. That's just, enjoy each other and have fun and yeah, enjoy each day as it comes. And don't wish too much for the future. We've never wished too much and like plan it's too heavily. Exactly. We've never planned too heavily because it puts on way too much pressure for us as a couple, I think. Like if I had expectations or anything like that, like we don't really have major expectations. We have ways we want to live.
somewhat goals. We're not wishy-washy hippies, but
Yeah. But we have ways we'd like to live.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's not a lot of pressure beyond that,
no,
which is really nice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think this experience for us has like, initially it was a rocky start, obviously. I think that was really hard. I was on, obviously I was going through treatment, but I also was on that drug Zoladex, and
Yeah, that was a
which
bad one.
yeah, makes you go through menopause. So my emotions were anyway really heightened. And yeah, that was really hard in my emotional instability. So I think for us, you just have either really good days or really bad days. Which thankfully I don't think there were many extremely bad days. I can only think of, two in this whole experience for me that I would have like a really low moment. But for us as a couple, I think we were able to move on from that and like, stay really positive. Okay, next one. Okay, this is where we'll go a bit deep, Jake. Can you go there?
Probably not, but
Were there some moments where we struggled and others that we handled really well? Can you name some?
struggling is what we touched on before, was the emotional support aspect to it. And then in terms of what we did well, I think we did well at the whole experience, because like even though I wasn't the most like emotionally available at points, I recognized that in myself and communicated that with you, and we like worked out a way to get you the support that you needed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it knows necessarily the support I needed because I actually quite like someone who isn't that emotionally available in a sense. Like, I don't want you to pander to my every emotion. If I'm really sad, I kind of don't want you to like sit with me in my sadness. You know what I mean? It might make me just more sad. And I think at the start I would be like, I need to see that you're as sad as me. And like, how can you not be as shocked as I am? You know, I would say that to you. Like, I was living in a state of like complete shock, and like, how are you not, I need to see that you're in the same as me because like, otherwise I'm just so confused. But I think later on I learned that like, I'm actually so lucky that I can't see how rattled you are and how difficult that is for you. But I can see your ways of support. You know, you're very stable, you're very calm, you're able to laugh things off. And I think I also began to appreciate that a lot more, you know?
Mm.
Like you are very consistent and very, yeah, extremely consistent, I would say, and just very stable. And so I just began to enjoy that. And we really enjoy doing things like going out on adventures and using our weekend time together and spending time with the kids. And I think that became really valuable to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I fully agree. I think that's an important point to touch on, especially from a carer's perspective, is like you are who you are, and what your partner's going through isn't going to change that. And so you need to be able to recognize that you can really only give them the support that you're capable to give. And you can't feel guilty if you can't give your partner everything in that moment.
Yeah.
You sort of need to communicate that with your partner and sort of work it out.
Exactly. I think like I think I had to learn like this experience isn't going to magically change you into someone that I think the perfect carer might be, right?
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
going to like flick a switch into, oh, I'm in like carer mode and this is what the book
Yes,
is
everyone's
to be.
we're still human.
And you're still who
I'm
you were
still me.
before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anything, you're a shocked version of yourself because you're
Yeah.
dealing with this like major life event.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, really important for you to recognize that and try not put pressure on yourself in these moments.
Yeah.
I think that's a really a good point to just keep in mind, especially at the start when everything's really fresh and raw, that, no one's perfect. You're going to let down your partner, and that's okay. You know, don't, it's hard not to feel guilty about it in the moment because obviously your partner's going through something that's so massive, but like, it's just life. Like you're together for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I think exactly, I hopefully, do you think I came to that towards you with compassion? Like, do you think over time, I think it was harder at the start, but over time I approached it coming to you with more perspective for your experience?
Yeah.
How do you think I handled you being a carer? Because that's quite hard, you know. It's like a very selfish time in my life, right? Because it's all about me.
Yeah.
But then, like, how do you think I handled that? Like, letting that down sometimes. I've been like, okay, I think Jake needs moments for himself.
Yeah. It's like what you were touching on before of at the start, it's all happening around you. There's doctors, there's appointments, you're trying to book things, you're worrying about the future. You've got a million things on your mind, and it's just the communication gets better and better over time, I reckon, because you have more discussions and you're both sort of working through things together individually with friends, with psychiatrists, things like that, whoever you need to be your support network.
Okay. Has this experience changed you in any way or how you approach life?
I wouldn't say it's changed how I approach life. Um, has it changed me? I like to think so. I mean, every experience, positive or negative, I think changes you in somewhat. whether you're conscious of that change or not. But yeah, as I said, I feel blessed. I've as weird as this sounds, I look back at this as sort of a positive experience for me. As horrible as it has been going through it, it's sort of really doubled down what I think is important in life, which is taking each day as it comes and enjoying time with you and my kids. Like that was my perspective going into it of what I wanted from life, and it's still my perspective now. Would I in an ideal world not have liked to have a wife with brain cancer? Sure, but that's life. Like,
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
yet
In sickness and in health.
in sickness and in health.
Yeah. And I think I say this to you all the time, and I think it's mind-blowing because I think the naivety of myself would never agree with this. But you and I are happier today than we were the day before I got diagnosed.
Yeah, but we, like we always say to each other, we're very much, the more experiences and memories, the more we shape and sort of change each other to be better versions of ourselves. And we're very lucky in that. That's why we're married. And
Definitely. Yeah, I just think like our marriage is much more stable and we get so much more out of it and so much more joy because we don't care about little things, like in our marriage, we really don't worry about.
Who did the dishes or didn't do the dishes?
Yeah, exactly. Keeping score tabs or this kind of stuff because, yeah, like the bigger picture, and unfortunately, the bigger picture being death. We have to think about like what's more important, worrying about all of these smaller things or enjoying each other and the time that we have with each other.
That's
We love each other. So at the end of the day,
that's probably a big point, is just being conscious of the fact that you're both a team. And when you get emotional, or I get emotional, the other person needs to recognize at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're always a team and on the same page and working things out together.
Yeah, exactly. And lastly, what do you do for yourself as a carer that helps you clear your head or help your mental state, makes you feel better in times where you might feel overwhelmed?
My one's bodyboarding. I mean, everyone's going to have a different hobby or something they do, but for me, it's honestly just getting in the ocean and catching a few waves. It's like magic.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it nice that you don't have any like headphones or anything out there?
yeah, the sounds, the wind.
I am a bit jealous, yeah, the way you can meditate out there because I'm way too scared of sharks to do it. But yeah, it sounds like it would be. I am like so jealous that you have this love.
I am conscious now. If there's no one in the surf anymore, I tend to be like, I'm not going out now. As long as there's a couple of other people in there, then I'm like, it's all right in my head. So
I do. When we were younger, earlier in our marriage, you would always go out, rain, hail, or shine. And now I like that you're a little bit more
no, I'm a dad now.
conscious.
I gotta be responsible.
Yeah, and if sometimes I'll ask you like, oh, how was the surf? And you'll say, I just went in the pool.
Yeah.
I just had a swim in the pool.
Wait, that's just as good.
Yeah. Anyway, that makes me really happy.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for answering my questions. How do you feel after that? Is it hard to kind of sometimes look back on it and talk about it a little bit more for you?
No, I don't really have any struggles with looking back on it. I've, like I said, when I was going through it, I had the support of my two best mates, and they gave me some really good advice going through it. Like one of my best mates, his mum passed away after a really long struggle with cancer, and he said the most important thing that he took away from it was taking the pressure off moments and birthdays and just spending time with people. Just don't put like a shot clock on it in that sense. Just try and enjoy the moment, because as time passes, you put more and more pressure on these moments, and he said with hindsight, it sort of ruined the moment for him because he just felt so much, like everyone felt pressure that they had to make this make this the best. Like, what if this is the last one? And yeah, that would just be honestly, my one piece of advice for people listening is the biggest takeaway is just try to enjoy the moments and try and take that pressure off yeah, how am I gonna put it?
Yeah, I think that's perfect, Jay. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's something I did 100% in the first year.
Yeah,
But like Christmas and birthdays and Easter,
it's definitely a learning process. Like
Yeah.
you said, like
I was spoiling the girl.
we were first week of December, we were finding all this out. So literally Christmas was 2 or 3 weeks later. And
Yeah.
like we were saying, like you get better at it. It's definitely harder at the start because everything's fresh. But like I said, just trying to be conscious of the fact of just take each day as it comes. Try and take the pressure off the moments, whatever it is, even if it's just enjoying a coffee with your friends or even if it is your birthday. Like just try and appreciate the moment for what it is and just let yourself enjoy that moment. Don't get caught up in trying to think about what this moment represents.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think even for your children's sake, like your friend's sake, because I think the children sense that too, feel the pressure to enjoy it, feel the pressure to have fun. And they're maybe feeling feelings too. They're hurting too. Your family might be hurting too. And everyone's holding back. But I think it's okay to just like take a moment to be slow with these events and really enjoy them. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Jake, for answering these questions.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Do you have any questions for me that you might want to relay back?
Yeah, I think a good one for carers out there is what, not specifically what I did as a carer that you liked, but as someone who is going through it, what the carer should be doing, in your opinion.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that I maybe undervalued at the start that we've touched on is the doing, because the emotional support is really important, but that's gets so much worse if nothing gets done, right?
Yeah.
And the admin of getting cancer is overwhelming. When we're talking about finances, we're talking about applications, medical bills, fees, changes that are going to be happening in your life. So for us, we moved out of our apartment.
And one day, don't remind me. That was shout out to all the boys that helped me.
Yeah, you were able to organize a bunch of guys to help you move. So those people who did and you who coordinated the doing, that was so much more helpful. And for example, Gab was doing things for me, like booking my appointments, helping me with my online applications, changing my children's daycare because we're moved to a different location. So all of these different things come into play because your life is basically turned upside down. And if you don't actually do any of those things, you are not in the mental state to do them. So for me, my biggest point of advice would be to actively help with the doing, with whatever you can, even if it's just cooking a meal and cooking dinner. For me, I think for the carers and the support network of your loved ones, that would be the most helpful thing that you can provide someone going through, especially the early stages of cancer. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that as well. I think another one as well was what we were saying before of, I think at the start, especially of how I was saying we're sort of independent in our relationship, you looked to me and you were like, okay, you provide all of that, but you also, I need to get all of the emotional support from you as well. And that was like what we were saying of that's a team effort of you had Gab, your sisters, me, everyone together to create that network for you.
Yeah.
And I think a large part of that especially was, as I said, at the start, I felt like you put a lot of pressure on me to provide that for you. And we had that sat down and sort of had that discussion and realization that this needs to be an entire team of people. And I think that's probably a good one for carers as well.
Yeah, to release that. Like, did it feel a sense of relief for you?
Yeah, because like I said, it made me feel guilty in that moment because I'm like we've laughed about. I'm a man of few words, and it's going through something like this. You need a lot of words,
Yeah.
and it's not my forte. So
Well, that's true. I think that's really good to point out. Must have taken the pressure off and make sure, like, yeah, you have a good, stable network of people that you can get those different emotional needs from. I think
yeah,
that's great.
it's definitely something as a carer, you need to be conscious of. It's not just your partner or sister or whoever it is that's going through it. You're also going through it as well. And you need to be sort of self-evaluating where you're at and making sure that you are not only trying to support this person to the best of your ability, but are doing so in a way that is healthy for you as well. Like, you can't be everybody's everything all the time. You need, like I said, you need to be able to go and have a surf, clear your head, and,
Meet your friends.
be
Go out.
conscious.
Exactly. Yeah, that's something we're very conscious of as well, like giving each other alone time in that space. I think that's important. Even though I think our favorite, like our love language, if you were to say, is time together.
Yeah, definitely.
We love spending time together. We also recognize how important it is for someone to just clear their head. And there's no questions asked if someone wants to go to the gym or do a class or go to surf. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, especially when you're going through these massive changes in life, it's very important to give your partner a lot of leeway in these moments to let them do what they need to do and say what they need to say, and not hold it against them or feel guilty if you haven't done something. It's just like maturity, I guess, but not the most mature person either. So
yeah, that's fun though.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will wrap off this episode today.
I'm trying to think if I have any more questions.
Well, keep them to yourself for now. Jake is going to join me for our next episode, where we were going to discuss more about my pregnancy and how this pregnancy came about. It was a difficult decision. It came with its own challenges, and we also weren't even sure if I would be able to conceive. So we'll go into more of that story and the process behind that in the next episode. Are you excited?
2 episodes in a row. What more could you ask for?
Thank you so much. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Heads Up with Em. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. If you're a brain cancer survivor, a caregiver, or someone just looking for some inspiration, remember you're not alone and your story matters. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review if you enjoyed the episode. It helps others find this space too. If you want to connect, you can find me on Heads Up with Em Instagram and my Instagram account, Emily Francesca Kirk. I'm excited to share more with you next time.